Hello everyone, welcome back. Tom with Capo Fetish. Today I'm going to talk about some recent music discoveries and obsessions. About a month and a half or 2 months ago, I was on amoebamusic.com on YouTube. They have a show called What's in My Bag. They interview various musicians, artists, rummaging through the record store, picking out albums, and then eventually each artist goes through their bag and they talk about what they bought through the day. So one of the episodes I saw was this group called the Melvins, and one of the members of the Melvins brought out this album right here from Ty Segall. Now, I've heard of Ty Segall in Mojo magazine, different publications, but I've never really went out and tried to discover the music or anything. I just kind of, bypassed it. So when the guy in the Melvins showcased this record, they played maybe like a 10-second excerpt from one of the songs on the album, and immediately I was like, I got to get that record. Just that doesn't happen very often where it's just that quick. I'm into something, So like about 10 seconds in, I was like, I got to get this record. So I found this record used at a local record store, bought it, loved it. So Ty Segall, he's been around since about 2008, maybe a little earlier. He's from Laguna Beach, California. He's almost like a prodigy. I mean, he plays most of the instruments on his albums. To date, from right now as we speak, he has 15 albums that are under his name. He also has a ton of EPs, tons of collaborations with other independent artists. He's also done some movie soundtracks. So I've just kind of been delving into his main discography of his albums, his 15 albums. So I picked this up. I love it. This is kind of like, how would you describe Ty Segall? I mean, he's all over the map, right? His early stuff is kind of psych garage, kind of lo-fi, kind of brash sounding. He also can do kind of singer-songwriter 70s style type stuff. What else does he do? He does everything in between. And most of the albums, he plays every instrument. He's kind of like a Todd Rundgren. This album in particular, this is from 2017. This is a self-titled album, Ty Segall. It's kind of like, it starts off with kind of like this kind of 70s hard rock tune. Almost sounds like T-Rex really amplified. His voice at times sounds a lot like Bowie. Sometimes you hear a little Syd Barrett in there. But it's great. He even harmonizes with himself, which really adds a lot to the songs. I love good harmonies. He does a lot of great, two-part harmonies with himself. As you get halfway through this album, though, you could see just his talent. There's a song called Warm Hands. It's a second track, or maybe it's a third track. It starts off really hard-hitting rocker, but then it ends up going into this kind of jazz, kind of prog thing at the end. And then the remainder of the album are these really great, catchy, memorable kind of folk acoustic tunes with great harmonies. So this is just one of his albums. This came out in 2017. So I've just been gradually kind of discovering his discography. Another great one, an earlier one of his, which is way more like psych garage, lo-fi fuzz, is this album from 2010 called Melted. This is really great. It's only 30 minutes long, but it's about 10 or 11 songs. Maybe it's 12 songs. Really good, memorable, lo-fi fuzz, psych garage stuff. It's just the first time I heard it, I was like, I like this. This is good stuff. And, it takes you into a really cool place. I mean, he really does the psych thing really good. His songs are fantastic. He's a great songwriter. As you go through his discography, he gets better as a musician. I mean, he's just a world-class musician. On these albums, he's kind of very basic what he's doing, but just the recordings and everything and the vibe really enhance the music and the record. So this is a really great one. This is Melted from 2011 or 2010, I believe. Another great one that came out about 2022, a completely 180, is this album called Hello High. This is from 2022. This is more kind of folk acoustic types tunes that he recorded, I believe, in his house in Topanga. This is a really great album. Another great one too is this one called Sleeper. Another kind of, I guess you would say more of a folk acoustic type record. And this only clocks in about 35 minutes. I was listening to this today. Really good stuff. So I've just really been kind of delving into his discography. It's just really fascinating. All the different styles that Ty Segall does. And he has a new album out. I haven't even heard it yet, but I picked it up. It's called Three Bells. He's currently touring behind this album. This just came out, I think, last month, so I got to spin this tomorrow. So yeah, Ty Segall, really, really digging it. If you like, psych garage, 70s singer songwriter stuff, and everything in between, check out Ty Segall. He's just fantastic. Another band I've really gotten into, and I'm 30 years late on the scene, is Blur. I've really gotten into the band Blur. When I was young, back in the 90s, all I ever heard was a song called Girls and Boys. This is probably about 94, I guess, 94. Never liked that song. And then a few years later, they had a song called Song Number 2, which you hear at every sports event. Woohoo! That song. It never really did anything for me, but I went to a sale at Freakbeat Records in Studio City. They had quarter CDs on sale. I picked up this album, Park Life, and I just cannot believe how great this band is. I mean, they're like a combination of like Kinks, XTC, a little bit of Bowie, a little bit of Bolan again. But this album in particular, just all the different styles on this album, it's just a masterclass in pop songwriting. I mean, you hear kind of the influences, but they do it their own way. You hear the 60s influences, but it's all done in a more contemporary way as it was back in the 90s. Some of the songs in here are just absolutely unbelievable. To the End has this just amazing kind of Burt Bacharach kind of vibe. You've got these rockers that are great called Trouble in the Message Center. Clover Over Dover is just incredible song. You got the title track, Park Life. Bad Head has kind of like a birdsy sound. Every track has its own kind of vibe. So this, once hearing this, I had to research the rest of the catalog. And indeed I did. I ended up picking up more of their stuff, and I picked up the album before that, Modern Life is Rubbish, and this is more of a stripped down album. I wouldn't say stripped down, just more bass, guitar, drums, lead vocals, and every song is just dynamite, and which makes Blur really incredible. Not only the songwriting talents of Damon Albarn, but the absolute brilliant guitar playing of guitarist Graham Coxon. Just incredible. Graham Coxon, should I say. He's kind of like a Johnny Marr of the 90s, a little more harder edge, but every song he plays to the strength of the song. A lot of different guitar sounds, just really tasteful playing like a Honeyman Scott. Just amazing. This album, Modern Life is Rubbish and Park Life, I've just been playing nonstop. This other album that came after Park Life, The Great Escape, is almost as good as the other two I mentioned. Maybe just a couple of songs could have been left off, but still just great pop songwriting. Now, they were part of the whole Britpop thing with Oasis, and I got to tell you, there's no comparison between these guys and Oasis. These guys are the real deal, and I never realized Damon Albarn was such a fantastic songwriter. So, and the bass player and the drummer too, just an incredible, almost like an XTC kind of rhythm section, just perfect, spot on. And then they got tired of the Britpop thing, so they went more kind of indie, kind of American indie in the late 90s, and their self-titled album has song number 2, but just a lot of great songs like Beetle Bum, and just a lot of great, more, should we say, experimental tracks. Now, I haven't listened to this yet, but I picked up, this is their last album of the 90s called 13. I know 3 of the songs on here that are really good. Tender, what is the other one? Coffee and TV. It's just really, really great. Great stuff. So, it just from a 25-cent CD, I've become a huge Blur fan. So, pretty cool stuff. Another artist I've been listening to a lot lately, I listen to a lot of jazz all day long. And I've really gotten into Grant Green over the past few years. Grant Green, jazz guitarist. This particular album on the Blue Note label, Idle Moments, is really, really strong. I listen to this all the time. And then I picked up a while ago this one, I Want to Hold Your Hand. He does a remake of the Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand. It doesn't even sound like the same song. I mean, he completely remakes it to his own liking, and it's fantastic. Every song in this album is so good, every track. And then I picked up this recently, Matador, just another great, great album. I love his guitar playing and just the arrangements and everything. So that's something else. And then a while back, somebody in the comments section, I forgot what video it was regarding to that I did, mentioned this group called Affinity from the early 1970s. They only put out one album. They have a lead singer named Linda Hoyle, really powerful vocalist. They're kind of jazz rock. And what I heard, I listened to it on YouTube. I got to get this. But it was actually cheaper getting the box set, which has not only just their only soul album, but it has just like 3 other discs of instrumentals and outtakes and live cuts. So this is actually cheaper getting this than actually getting just the one vinyl. But really cool stuff. Kind of reminds me of Brian Auger and the Trinity with Julie Driscoll. Kind of on that par, maybe not as good, but very, very cool, very atmospheric, really, really cool stuff. Never heard it before, so whoever mentioned this, I thank you. It's a really cool album. So those are just some of the things I've been listening to lately and obsessing on and listening to quite a bit. So I thought I'd just make a video about it. Let me know what you've been listening to lately. I'd like to know. Thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye.